Hello everyone, and welcome back to this series of videos I made because I like the sound of my own voice more than going outside and touching grass. This is a 7-part series where I break down what I would do if I were to control every element of the next Mario Kart game. If you want a more in-depth explanation about what this is, I went into greater detail in my first video, linked in the description, and I would also recommend having seen the character video as I'll be referencing many of the characters I included there. Other than that, let's move on to the topic of this video, the courses. I think the courses are the best part of any Mario Kart game. Everything from the theming to the course composition to the music, it's all stuff that people look forward to in any Mario Kart game, myself included. And a lot of people like to speculate on the courses they think will return. But I went a little further. I wanted to plan every element of this game, and that includes the new courses. This wasn't actually as tricky as it seems because there was plenty to take inspiration from, and the new courses are where we're going to start. Before we do though, the topic of how many courses the game would have needs to be discussed. Deluxe created the status quo of having 48 courses, and many believe the next game should have that because otherwise it would be a downgrade. I don't agree. It's a lot of extra work. You have to remember that Deluxe got 48 courses because it inherited all of 8 DLC courses. Expecting that amount in just one entry is unreasonable, and it creates an issue where you have to wonder whether the game after that would have to have even more courses thanks to Switcheroo's DLC, and it just becomes a mess. So yes, we're sticking to 32 courses. As previously mentioned, I'm trying to keep this realistic as to what Nintendo could reasonably achieve. That doesn't mean I won't address the issue, of course, you just have to wait until the DLC video. So on to the actual courses. Let's start with the Mushroom Cup, and I'm gonna break tradition here and make Mario Circuit the first course. This hasn't happened since the original game. Other than that, it's always been a Luigi Circuit or some equivalent, with Mario Circuit typically being the Flower Cup opener. However, this time I think it's the right call, based on what's coming later in the Flower Cup. I have no specific wants for this, just that it's a standard starter course to introduce the game. Next is Acorn Forest. This would be a forest of acorn trees, like the ones in New Super Mario Bros. U. There'd be plenty of gliding and waddle wings as obstacles. Then we'd have Pink Gold Parlor, my attempt to sort of justify Pink Gold Peach's existence. I want to repurpose her as Peach's fashion alter ego, a persona she takes on when she's doing beauty product stuff. This would take place in a large beauty parlour owned by Peach, and the slogan would be, "Get the pink gold look." The last Mushroom Cup course would be Chuck's Stadium. Maybe my Chuck bias is coming in, but who better to represent a Mario sports based course? Once upon a time I wanted this to be an Olympic stadium course, but I think a general sports stadium course with sporty obstacles would be better. Starting the Flower Cup would be Birdo Circuit, and this is why I wanted Mario Circuit to be in the Mushroom Cup. Birdo Circuit would be so much more specialised thanks to having lots of pink and lots of bows. Then we'd have Golden Coinscape. This would be based on New Super Mario Bros. 2, having plenty of gold and more coins than your average course. Next is Diddy Beach. This is a concept I came up with years ago, before 8, but back then it was just to give Diddy a course you might not expect. These days though, I realise a tropical beach fits a Donkey Kong character insanely well, so I kept the concept around. Lastly, Frozen Desert, and this would obviously be based on the Sand Kingdom from Odyssey, acting as both the desert and ice courses. This was a pretty cool, unique concept in Odyssey, and it would be just as cool and unique here. Opening the Star Cup would be Bullet Bill Factory. I envision this as being more like the Chomp Works from Galaxy 2 than Toad's Factory, being dark-skied and containing lava. And of course there would be Bullet, Banzai and maybe even King Bills as obstacles. Next is Paper World. With Paper Mario being a costume, it makes sense to include a course from that series. It doesn't need to be anything more than a course made of paper, but a paper course would be amazing nonetheless. Then we would have Yoshi's Volcano, a sort of mix between Grumble Volcano and DK Mountain. It would be a daytime volcano course that lets you travel inside the volcano itself before letting you come out of the top of it. And there would be Yoshi eggs nesting on the mountain, of course. Finally for this cup, Ruined Raceway. The Ruined Kingdom was one of my favourite parts of Odyssey, just for the aesthetic and the shock factor of the Lord of Lightning. A course based around this would be great, and a Lord of Lightning cameo would be a must. And then we have the Special Cup. Let's start with New Donk City, a faithful recreation of the streets of the Metro Kingdom. This is probably one of the most likely new courses to be in the game, seeing as it seems to get everywhere. Next is Porcupuffer Depths, an entirely underwater course taking place on the seafloor. There'd be urchins, the Porcupuffer, and that eel from Super Mario 64 that everyone was terrified of. Of course, every Mario Kart needs a Bowser Castle. This one would be a floating island in the sky, waterfalls of lava pouring from it, which you'd see from afar before gliding over to it. It would go back to having thwomps, which have been sorely missed, and there'd be a large Bowser raining down streams of fire, kinda like Bowser did in Galaxy 2's boss battles. And finally, Rainbow Road. All I want is for this to remain a rainbow road. No trips to the moon or satellites or what have you. I really don't like 7's Rainbow Road because all it does is throw gimmicks at you throughout the race. Just make it a tough as nails challenge of your Mario Kart skills. Pure racing, no more, no less. That's my new courses. I try to incorporate as many different themes as possible while also introducing new stuff. I wanted to stick to a lot of the trends they stick to themselves while also focusing on new trends. But now it's time for the retro courses, and we'll start with the Shell Cup. This would contain DS Figure 8 Circuit, GBA Riverside Park, 3DS Daisy Hills, and SNES Ghost Valley 3. Figure 8 Circuit seems to stand out the most because it's such a basic course, but given how they made even courses like GBA Mario Circuit and SNES Donut Plains feel like worthwhile courses, I'd love to see how they'd handle Figure 8 Circuit. The rest are all varied, but they're still fairly basic, and that's what I wanted for the first Retro Cup. The Banana Cup would have SNES Mario Circuit 4, GBA Sunset Wilds, GCN Mushroom City, and Wii Toad's Factory. Some interesting variety here, although not notoriously tricky courses at this point, and we finally have all the SNES Mario circuits remade in a Mario Kart game. The Leaf Cup would have 3DS Alpine Pass, Wii Dry Ruins, SNES Vanilla Lake 1, and DS Bowser Castle. Oh yeah, for things like courses and vehicles, I'm using the names that are used in the UK because I'm from the UK, so that's what I'm used to. A Bowser Castle in a cup before the Lightning Cup is not too unusual, so this works I think. Some tough courses coming in now, just as you want at this point in the game. Finally, the Lightning Cup. This has 3DS Rosalina's Ice World, N64 Wario Stadium, GBA Bowser's Castle 4, and GCN Rainbow Road. There's a lot to unpack here. Firstly, yes, we are also going to be completing the GBA Bowser Castle remake set. Honestly, the music for this track is amazing, and I'm so annoyed that 8 was when they decided to stop remaking GBA Bowser Castle, because can you imagine that tune remade in 8? There's also GCN Rainbow Road. People will be expecting GBA Rainbow Road here, but I think the much grander scale of GCN Rainbow Road much better suits being the absolute last course in the base game. We also have Wario Stadium, finally meaning every course from 64 has been remade. And yes, this is the only 64 course remade for this game. There is greater reasoning behind this, but one of the reasons is that I wanted to maintain the trend that only courses that have never been remade before are remade in the base game. Sure, the DLC remade some courses, but the base game never has, and I want it to keep that way for now. You may have also noticed that there are no courses from 8, and yes, I have a reason, but again, this is something that I can't effectively explain until the DLC video. Trust me, that video is where all of the pieces fall into place. Well, that's that for this video. I'm taking a more standard approach to courses, so this video isn't quite as long, but I'll make up for it, don't you worry. Next time I'm going to be focusing on items, so I'll see you then.